G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm David, and today we've got our little tube stock trees back on the bench. We're actually missing one. There's only 4 here. We did have 5. We had a bit of a catastrophe with the big tall casuarina that we had. Trouble with tall trees in pots is the wind grabs them, and the wind blew this one off the bench and it didn't get noticed for a few days, totally dried out, and the tree never came back. So unfortunately we're down to 4. The other thing you might notice, the Morton Bay Ash. Man, look at the growth on that. I still reckon this is my pick for a decent looking bonsai at the 3 to 4 year mark. We're right on 2 years at the moment since I did the first video when these guys were just little tiny tube stocks. Most of these trees have grown okay. This little casuarina, torullosa, was looking pretty unhealthy in the last video. I was a bit worried it wasn't going to make it to this one either, but I ripped it out of the potting mix, put it in a bonsai mix so it's a bit more free draining, and it's actually started to come back and put a bit of growth on, which is cool. So I probably won't do much with that today, just give it some more fertilizer and let it go, let it put some more size on, but it is starting to look a lot healthier than it was. The Morton Bay Ash, it's been sitting on the ground in its pot, and it has sort of escaped the pot a little bit, which is actually a pretty good thing. Just lets the trees grow a little bit quicker than they do just confined to the pot. So I'm going to trunk chop that one today, and it can just go back on the ground, and hopefully it'll go back into the ground and it can put some more serious growth into another leader, and that'll just get us a bit of taper, and we try and introduce a bit of movement too when we get some shoots, and we'll wire one maybe out to the side a little bit, just get that bit of a angular movement going, because like I said, we're at 2 years. Probably don't want to go any further than 4 years with this project. Like 4 years from a little tube stock, I think most people sort of have the patience that they could do that to get a half decent tree, and that was the aim of doing this project, was just to show that, you know, you can grow a tree for a small amount of time and, you know, have something that doesn't look too bad. So I'll start with the big one, the trunk chop. Not going to put a huge amount of thought into it. I reckon somewhere around this sort of height, and we can get, it'll shoot off all around here, I reckon, and probably from the base as well, but hopefully up here somewhere. And then we might have a bit more of a look at the base here and see if there is a preferred front, and then we can select one shoot to be the leader. But really just need to choose the height. Somewhere around there, I reckon. Sorry, mate. Yeah, that is severe. But that'll shoot back, and by the time we do another video, you won't even recognise that tree. Bring in a little bit without chopping everything off. Righto, so Morton Bay Ash, taken care of. Not going to do anything more with him. Go back on the ground. Remove the trip hazard. Hang on. Let me pull some weeds out. Hopefully you can see in amongst all the weeds, but it's got a pretty cool bark on it, but it needs to grow. It really, really needs to put some size on. But it's a lot happier in that bonsai mix, so some more fertilizer, back out on the bench. Little Melaleuca nodosa. This one puts heaps of growth on. I do like it from that perspective, but I don't really know what sort of style we can do with it. I'm a bit lost. I think for a start we can just clean up the actual trunk part of it, because we do want to be able to see a lot of that trunk. Do I come around the front? I'll come around the front. and probably block you from seeing anything. Actually today, I might put both of these, the leptospermum and the Melaleuca, into a training pot, bonsai training pot. That'll get them into the bonsai mix, which I reckon they'll grow better in. Man, let's check on the alarm clocks outside. Guinea fowl, man, anything out of the ordinary, they just lose their shit. What are you doing? Go on, f off. Probably good alarms to have, but oh, they panic at the slightest thing. There was a bucket in the yard once, it wasn't where it was meant to be. Had them alarming all day. Bloody weirdos. Take some of this mix off. See if we can't work out a front and a bit of a style for this tree. It's quite wet. All these trees are on the same bench with the same watering as a lot of the other ones you've seen, like the casuarinas in the last video. Same bench, same water. Some trees, I don't know, it just seems so hard to get a consistent moisture level. I don't really know why that is. Actually got a little shoot coming out from under the soil level. I reckon he'll handle a bit of root disturbance without a worry, which is good because I don't know that his root system's all that healthy, to be honest. No, that's terrible. Definitely needs that repot into something a bit more free draining for him, I think. Some Melaleucas would actually love that water, wet medium. But obviously not this one. Probably won't prune anything off his roots, I don't think there's any benefit to that. But orientation, I still reckon nearly the way he was growing, with the initial trunk leaning over, and then we can bring him back. I reckon we'll just go with that. For a start, I'll just chop a lot of this long stuff off. He doesn't have a root system to support all that. Not for a couple of weeks anyway. So, what do we got? Got this branch coming out the front. It's always going to be bit of a problem, so I'm going to remove that. Any of these lower down ones I don't think we want. nor that one. I reckon that needs to be cleaned up just a touch. I think I'll leave that. That'll shoot out heaps of new shoots everywhere. Just want to try and keep that trunk clean. Keep that bit of movement in it there, and I reckon it'll come back up. We'll get like a branch up here somewhere. Maybe that one can stay then. I don't know. We'll see how we go. If it shoots all over there in the next month, I reckon I'll cut it off up there a bit. But for now, that can just stay as it is. I will take it up and give it some water though, because I don't really want it sitting there in that dry bonsai mix for too long. Right, so that leaves a little leptospermum. We did cut it back, well, not super hard last time, but we gave it a pretty decent cut back. It's put a lot of growth back on top again. The trunk still looks too tall to me. I was hoping it might have put a bit more size in the trunk, but it doesn't look like it's going to. So I'm really not sure what to do with it, because that trunk is straight and there's no interest in it. I mean, we could keep one of these, put a curve in the trunk here, but being that high up, you're going to have to put a lot more thickness. Bugger off. You have to put a lot more thickness in that trunk to make it look half decent. So I'm kind of tempted to cut it back to this one. It's probably the lowest one that's still got life in it. And just see what happens. If it shoots down lower, I could take it back a bit lower. I mean, if it was a long-term project, you could probably just leave it and just let it keep growing, and it might take another 2 years to get a nice sized trunk on it. But I don't really want to do that. It's not really what this project was about. So, what are we doing? You know we're going to do it, don't you? Poor little fella. I'll just try and tidy that up a little. Oh, not that far. So, well, we'll leave it at that. Do we want to repot it? I might leave this one alone. I might leave it to recover. Yeah, I will leave this one. We'll just fertilise it again. It seems happy enough. Yeah. So we've essentially trunk chopped 2 of our trees, left one alone, gave the other one a pretty good cut back too. But anyway, that's where we're at the 2-year mark. I don't know. This is still the odds-on favourite, and it has been from the start, because I know how vigorous they grow. And you're only going to look at the difference in the trunk size between that and that. That's going to look more impressive, but we still have to establish a canopy. We've still got a lot of work to do in 2 years. Maybe we need to go to 5. See how we go. Anyway, that's where our tube stock trees are at the moment. Hopefully the 4 will be still here for the next one. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.